You are tuned to KNCE Taos, 93.5 FM, streaming at truetaosradio.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name's Howie. It is 16 minutes past 8 o'clock, Wednesday, August 6th, and we are about to embark on a pilot episode of what is to be a new monthly program here on KNCE. Joining me in studio from Taos Mainstreet, Charles Whitson and Arcenio Trujillo. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Howie. Thanks for having us.
Good morning, Howie.
So nice to see you again. I know you were in studio not too long ago. And Charles, I know you've been in over the years talking about Taos Mainstreet and all the work that you're doing in the downtown area. Just in the last 6 months or so, I guess we kind of all decided it might be a good time to feature Main Street on a regular basis. Once a month, we're looking at a 30-minute program/segment that will focus on the work of Taos Mainstreet and get a lot of the community, of course, in the downtown area involved in the conversation. So, Charles, welcome. Thanks for being here. And I'm going to start with you because you've been there from the beginning, Taos Mainstreet. I would love a little history and, what Taos Mainstreet is all about.
Thank you, Howie, and I think that's a good place to start. So I will start a little further back than just Taos Mainstreet in the formation of the actual Main Street movement throughout the country. Main Street was a program started by the National Trust for Historic Preservation in the late 70s. Some really smart folks saw a big problem on the horizon, and that we had a lot of traditional neighborhoods, historic districts, downtown throughout the country, rural and urban, that were experiencing a lot of decay. People were leaving these neighborhoods, these downtowns for the suburbs. We had the rise of suburbanization that was driving people kind of away from historic downtowns, and we also had a lot of manufacturing loss happening at the same time. So these industrial centers and historic downtowns were not only losing people that live there, but we're also losing a lot of their economic and job base as well. So the Main Street program was developed to start to address and really revitalize these historic downtowns and historic neighborhoods throughout the country. Main Street came to New Mexico, I think approximately in 1985. We're coming up on the 40th year anniversary of Main Street existing in the state of New Mexico. So you have Main Street America, you have New Mexico Main Street as the state coordinating program, and then you have Taos Main Street as one of the local programs. Taos Main Street, I believe, was started by a group of volunteers in approximately 2019. I do believe, Howie, that you were originally involved in that.
I was
group.
on that exploratory board. I can't remember what we called it, but it was just, getting underway. And it was a pretty big group. 20, 30 folks, I feel like, really started the process. And it was a daunting task, but here we are 6 years later, and it's proving to be viable.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that is a big list of people. We can't get into thanking all of them now, but we can thank Howie for his participation.
On behalf of that crew, sure. Yeah.
And, so every program has to go through what they call an accelerator process, where a group of community members, volunteers, have to hit a series of benchmarks to actually gain accreditation from Main Street America to then become a Main Street program. So the official accreditation happened in August of 2019. I was hired as the organization's first director in January of 2020. Then a few months later,
just in time for things to really change.
Just in time for a global pandemic to fall on the world. So we had to kind of really shift what we were originally focusing on. But here we are 5 years later. I think there's a lot of exciting things that have happened and that continue to happen. And we're really excited about the idea to host a show to really highlight not only Main Street as an organization, but highlight people and community members and projects that are happening in the downtown that are really contributing to revitalizing our downtown as a whole.
We're looking forward to it as well. We're speaking with Charles Whitson from Taos Mainstreet. We have to take a quick break. Got a couple of spots and then some good news, good planet. When we come back, we will pick back up where we leave off here on True Taos Radio. Charles, that was a great background you gave us on how Main Street even came to be and the issues it's addressing across the country. So here we are, Taos Mainstreet, now 5 or 6 years old. I'm going to read to you the mission statement from taosmainstreet.org, the website of Taos Mainstreet, preserving the history and building the future of downtown Taos. Very specific, yet very broad, and lots can be read into that and worked from there. So, Charles, you want to just kind of give your interpretation of this mission and kind of what it means to you, and if it accurately, describes what Taos Mainstreet's trying to do.
So simple statement, but really big mission at the same time. And I think that does encapsulate really what we are trying to do. Main Street programs have always intersected or have existed at the intersection of this idea of historic preservation and community and economic development. So those two things really don't have to be at odds with each other. They can really coexist and intersect quite beautifully, and that's a lot of the essence of Main Street work. So, preserving the historic built environment is actually a very viable form of economic and community development, giving old buildings new life, new uses, making sure that the character of downtown is preserved through the built environment, and also trying to help preserve activities, traditions, events, things like that really make downtown vibrant and make downtown unique. Make downtown a place where people feel welcome and included, and a place where they want to spend time. So we really want to preserve all of those things while building new things for the future. So new activities, new events, maybe new economic outlook on downtown, new businesses, things like that all also contribute to downtown's vibrancy.
No small undertaking, but essential nonetheless. I happen to live in the downtown area in the historic district, and I have for many years, so I've gotten to see kind of an evolution. There are a lot of people with a lot of opinions on what should be happening in downtown Taos, and I'm sure Taos Mainstreet is hyper aware of this, and it's a lot to juggle and a lot to be sensitive to. You talk about traditions and preserving the history. I think of Taos Fiestas as a great example of an event that happens in downtown that's been going on probably for 100 years. Taos Plaza Live, a kind of a new addition to the downtown scene in the last probably 20 years. And great examples of activities that happen in the downtown area. Obviously a lot more to discuss around the businesses, like you said, nationally, industry leaving downtown areas to go where there's more space and more affordable space. Let's talk a little bit about some of the initiatives and some of the work that Main Street has done. When I was involved in the early stages, there was a conversation about around the holidays, just bridging communities and just getting businesses to connect with putting farolitos on their roof, the bag lights and luminarias. I always get mixed up on if it's farolitos or luminarias, but I would say it was a successful project, right? It was just Main Street's role was, I think, to just kind of connect folks who made those farolitos available at a reasonable price, and the business owners to getting them on their roof. You found some folks to kind of install them. Is that a good example of, and a small example of what Main Street can do?
Sure, that is absolutely an example of a project that we took on sort of in our earlier days, and I'd like to back out for just a second. Please. And really talk to, when we talk about the mission, generally the top of mind question is like, well, how do you do that? What does that actually look like? And so in order to do that, as sort of mandated by Main Street America and New Mexico Main Street, you really have to develop, community transformation strategies. So that's really kind of the core of our work, that really ensure that we're working broadly across several really important areas in the community. Main Street programs, are not really supposed to just be downtown event organizations that just do events downtown. Sure. The mission is really larger than that. So we've outlined 3 really mutually enforcing strategies that guide our work. So we'll talk just briefly about the strategies and then some key initiatives under each strategy and how we work and how we're actually advancing.
That sounds great.
Things.
I appreciate that. And I know I might have jumped the gun about talking about one of these 3 components.
Yeah, no problem, Howie. There's a lot to take in here. So our first strategy is simply vibrant, inclusive civic space in the downtown area. We're really honed in on making sure that people feel welcome, people feel included, and we're really focused on 3 sort of key demographics in our activity of how can we get these groups of people downtown on a more regular basis. So that's simply youth, families with children, and our elders that are here and aging in place. The second strategy is a more of an economic type of strategy, and that's a dynamic, diverse, and creative economy in our downtown. We want to ensure that there is a lot of diversity within our downtown economy. We know, based on some trends that we're seeing unfold right now, that tourism may be a challenging sector of the economy in the next few years. And it's possible that tourism will fluctuate maybe more than it has in the past decade or 2. So we want to make sure that the downtown economy is healthy. It needs to be dynamic. It needs to be diverse. There needs to be good reasons for local people to go downtown and engage in commerce. And it really should be a place where there are a really good base of jobs as well. So downtown should be a great place to live, a great place to shop, a great place to work. And finally, the third strategy actually has to do with tourism. And really, we're looking at ways to ensure that tourism is actually contributing to our downtown being a vibrant civic space, and it's contributing to our downtown having a dynamic, diverse, creative economy. We know that there's a lot of resources that come into our community through tourism, and we want to really start ensuring that tourism is really contributing to the community's well-being in that way, and that there aren't just a select sort of group of industries or people that are benefiting from tourism, but the community is largely benefiting from tourism. So that's sort of the 3 overarching strategies, and then we develop plans, activities, projects, all within those strategies to advance them and move them forward.
It sounds so simple when you put it that way. I know, again, it's no small undertaking, but essential. And the economic development and the business community, I know, is an important part of it. Having been in business in this town for, as a sole proprietor for over 20 years, I understand the challenges. And my business is not located in downtown, but of course a lot of businesses are. And it just gets me wondering about how downtown areas are used by people, because I know there's probably community members who avoid a downtown, not just in Taos, but anywhere, because of the bustle and because of the congestion that is inevitable when there's a lot going on in an area. So I guess finding the businesses and or kind of establishing and letting businesses evolve isn't a challenge in and of itself. Like, what kind of businesses work in a downtown area? Obviously, tourist businesses do. I think of restaurants, and I think of what comes to mind is like grocery shopping, and I guess technically nothing in the downtown area. I know Smith's and Sid's nearby, but that kind of thing. If I find myself in New York City, in a big downtown area, there's food vendors on every corner, that kind of thing. So, how do we communicate to businesses or encourage folks to start a business or to keep a business in Taos? I know you have a lot of programs and opportunities for folks to kind of learn more, but is that a kind of a starting point, getting people in the business mind?
Sure. So You raise an interesting point, an interesting question, and one that is maybe not all that easy to address. So a few things that we think about when it comes to this, there's a bit of a chicken and an egg scenario. Do you try to recruit a bunch of businesses to downtown that are going to be focused on serving resident demand? Or do you engage in trying to bring residents downtown more regularly to then allow the creative entrepreneur spirit to kind of recognize that opportunity and then maybe change or develop a business model that's more suitable to not only serving tourists but also serving residents as well. So we think it's the second version of that chicken and egg scenario. We need to do better at bringing residents and community members downtown on a more regular basis, and then allow the savvy entrepreneurs in our downtown to really capitalize on that opportunity.
Keep them there. Yeah.
One of the things that always pops out to me is just, I don't want to say alarming, but I'm going to say alarming statistic is in one of our last economic reports. They have a stat that's called retail leakage, and that essentially says what percentage of our dollars leaves our community for the retail sector. And the last economic report put that number at over 65%. So wow. That's more than 65% of retail, of money being spent on retail broadly in Taos that we're exporting to Espanola, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, Amazon. That number is never going to be zero, but if we could even start to chip away 5 or 10% of that retail leakage, that translates into millions of dollars that circulate in our local economy. And each individual dollar that's spent in the local economy on average gets spent an additional 6 times before it sort of leaves the economy in air quotes.
I mean, we obviously have been advocating shopping local, right? I know it's like a catchphrase now and a little bit of a buzzword, but really does make a huge difference. And I think about stores like the Mountain Shops in town on the plaza and how the prices are competitive. I purchased the shoes I'm wearing right now from TMO, and it was no different. It was a great experience. I got to try them on, and it's like, I know people know this, but it's just such simple steps that can be taken to keep the money here. And like you said, if it just multiplies sixfold once the money's spent in the community, it's kind of a no-brainer. Let's just keep it going and encourage folks to open up these businesses, or just certainly keep the ones that are there, right? I know there was a time not too long ago where a lot of businesses were closing up, and it's nice to see that a lot of those empty spaces are now filled again. But I guess it's kind of like this evolution, and it can forever change. And I know on the national level, at the international level, it's going to affect things here as well. But we can get into that probably another time. So, all right, well, let's bring it back to Main Street and how Main Street can kind of help beyond letting folks know about these numbers and know about this stuff. Is there anything that you have in place or envision that will help develop the economy in the downtown area?
Absolutely. So again, I'm gonna do 3 quick parts here, sort of related to each of our strategies. So if we go back to the first strategy and we're talking about vibrant, inclusive civic space, a few of the areas that we're currently working in. One is capital improvements and technical assistance. We through our accreditation, we do have access to capital outlay funding from the state and a really robust technical assistance program where the state pays contractors to come in and work with Main Street, work with other organizations or other businesses in the district to actually help them revitalize and build more vibrant and civic spaces in their respective areas. So how that looks, we secured $1 million of capital outlay for the plaza improvements. The town took took on the first phase of that project and really fixing some of the underlying infrastructure under the plaza itself, addressing some drainage issues. The county's going to step in and take on the next part, which is going to be, some simple stuff. Not drastically changing the plaza in any way, but really making some critical updates to make sure that people can feel more included and can access the space easier. So refurbishing the gazebo, fixing a lot of access points to the plaza, making sure that they are ADA compliant and people with mobility challenges can really access the space easier. Some new sidewalk work within the plaza. I think also some potential new utility hookups. So when events are happening on the plaza, it's easier for vendors or other folks who need to be able to hook into some utilities to easily hook up. So we're excited about that. The other section of that strategy really involves community engagement and community building in action. That's a critical part to this. And again, like, how are we starting to bring residents back downtown on a more regular basis? So one of the things we really want to highlight here is a new activity that's been going on all summer. If you haven't joined us on Monday, we expect to see you out there in the coming Mondays. But it's a new activity that's called Meet Me at McCarthy's. This really has been the brainchild of Arcenio here. We've had some amazing results and amazing community building happening every Monday in downtown. So I'd like to hand it off to him to just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I appreciate that. Arcenio, it's great to see you. And finally, we have a chance to talk to you. There's so much to talk about, and time just flies. So we have been talking up Meet Me at McCarthy every Monday, and I've spoken to friends. I've not yet participated. I know I still have a few weeks to do it, but I have spoken to friends who have done it, and they've all taken advantage of the opportunity to see downtown kind of from a different vantage point, really, and to get to understand better the walkability and what downtown might mean. So, Arcenio, thanks for it sounds like maybe you were the brainchild or certainly instrumental in making this happen and keeping it going.
Well, it's been a team effort for
Sure.
sure. We've spent a lot of time planning and getting all the logistics in place for this. The key word that I think that you touched on is walkability of the downtown area, and of course, there's a lot of really neat things that happen, but it is important to show folks that the historic downtown Taos district is very walkable, and several people enjoy the amenities that exist downtown. There's
Sure.
some good sidewalks. There's now there's some really visible and good crosswalks on the main street that weren't there before. And as the sidewalks weren't evenly
Oh, yeah.
measured out before, and now they are, and it's really nice. But Meet Me at McCarthy's has been, like Charles says, has been a really good kind of a Kickstarter for us to get folks to come down. And sometimes it's just to come jibber jabber with their neighbors or strangers, and just kind of
Sure.
enjoy those brilliant afternoons that we have in downtown Taos.
But it's great that Taos Mainstreet kind of has a presence there to kind of remind folks and let folks who don't know, let them know that Main Street exists, that this organization is here to kind of help improve the community, for lack of a better word, and to bring people together to make it better for all of us, right? I mean, I know it's so simply said, but a lot of work and a lot of opportunity for conversation on what it looks like. This is a great idea. I think this Meet Me at McCarthy for folks to just be reminded about downtown, the walkability, and that there's somewhere to be, that you can hang out and walk around. And, I live in downtown, like I mentioned, so I love it. I do a Meet Me at McCarthy type stroll every a couple times a week, certainly
Right.
on the weekends. And the improvements in the sidewalk, it's simple stuff that makes it even that much more enjoyable.
And just real quick, the folks that have been coming, we're talking multi-generational. We're talking about the elderly that have been coming to do their best to maybe do a couple laps around the downtown in the plaza, or just sit there and join us. and talk about things that they used to do in the plaza is also very, very exciting. And then we have very, very young kids that come and kind of mingle with those folks.
So it's great to see the community involved, and I know that's an essential component of Main Street is getting community members, businesses involved in some of the programs and initiatives that you introduce. Meet McCarthy. McCarthy is a great example. Using McCarthy Plaza, for example, as kind of the starting point and a place to gather and listen to music and share ideas before you actually go on the walk. How important is it to Main Street to engage the community and the businesses? Is that ultimately what it's all about?
Yeah, that's a critical component, and community engagement is kind of the steady through line that goes through all aspects of the work. So yes, like that we're really ramping up our efforts to engage the community, to get different sectors of the community who have voices that aren't often heard in these spaces, and again, really an invitation. Meet Me McCarthy's is an invitation to the broader community to like, hey, the plaza is for everyone. Downtown is for everyone. Come join us. There's no pressure to do anything or to buy anything. This is civic space, and this is space that we're all welcome and then we all should spend time in. And there's some business owners that have already really understood this as an opportunity and are already really contributing to just that activity of Meet Me at McCarthy's.
Awesome.
With raffles. We do a raffle every week, and nothing big or grandiose, but just a way for the businesses to directly engage the community and saying, hey, here's something from our store. Come in, take a look, check us out. So it's a great starting point. The beauty of this, the beauty and maybe the challenge of this work too, is that this is a long-term proposition. We're not going to do Main Street for 5 or 6 years and then call it done. This is work that is done in perpetuity. So we've loved this season so far of Meet Me at McCarthy's, and we can't wait for the next season, and we can't wait to see the additional types of activities that an idea like this is going to help create.
Sure. We're speaking with Charles Whitson and Arcenio Trujillo from Taos Mainstreet. Check out taosmainstreet.org to learn more about the organization. Let's put what we're talking about, community engagement, especially in the context of this radio program. This is kind of a pilot episode of a program we envision happening once a month here on KNCE. And the community, because it's such an essential component to the work that Main Street's doing and really to just the downtown area, can we expect guests from the downtown area on this program? That's what I'm hoping for, and it sounds like a great opportunity for, like you said, businesses that and business owners that folks might not even be aware of to kind of have a voice.
Absolutely, and I think the idea behind the show is to really to create some topics. I think we can broadly talk about Main Street, and I can talk forever about it. But I think it's really important that we start honing in on some specific topics, issues that are going on, challenges that are going on, but also really highlighting some of the good things that are already happening that people may not be aware of. So we really look to have a broad variety of guests that are going to come in and really lend their specific insights as they relate to sort of the topic of the show.
Sure. Now I expect you probably already get a lot of community members in the downtown area who, for one reason or another, might not agree with some of the work you're doing. And are you prepared to kind of field questions or input from people who dissent, for lack of a better word?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's actually an important part of this work is that no single person, no single organization necessarily is going to have all the answers. And we have plenty of folks that maybe weren't necessarily happy with things that we were doing, and maybe weren't necessarily happy with things that we weren't doing. It's important to kind of bring those voices in and just talk about, like, hey, we've got this vision, we've got these strategies, this is the area that we're working on, but maybe there's something that we're missing in here, and having somebody come in and be able to really articulate, like, you know, a challenge or an area that really needs to be addressed, and how Main Street can maybe be a platform, and the show can be a platform for
Sure.
raising attention to those issues and talking about how we collectively address them.
Yeah, again, no small undertaking. And I know I touched on it earlier in the program. I just think about the philosophy and just the understanding of the community. If they think there even needs to be a downtown, that's going to be one extreme, right? Do we need to put any effort into this? Is like you were saying, what's happening nationally, downtowns are kind of maybe thinning out or dissipating. And as people move away, what's the relevance of a downtown area? I think a town like Taos, which is so steeped in the history of the downtown area as a meeting and a gathering place, that it's obviously worth preserving and improving over the years to come. So I can expect a lot of philosophical conversation from some of your guests in the coming months, and I do look forward to that. Time really does fly. We only have a few minutes left, and we're just kind of working out the details of what this radio program will look like monthly. I think we've pretty much nailed that down. But where we're talking about perhaps a half hour, maybe we spend an hour each month bringing these guests in and getting their ideas on the downtown area, and more importantly, focusing on the work that Taos Mainstreet is doing. Do you guys have any parting thoughts, or do you want to just encourage folks to get involved, stay involved, and how they can engage?
Absolutely, and maybe I'll also tease out sort of the next episode. Please check out the website. We've got some great partners and the Bent House creative folks who've really helped us with social media, with communications, with a new website overhaul. So take a look at the new website, taosmainstreet.org. Follow us on social media, Taos Mainstreet on Facebook and Instagram. We have a lot of cool stuff that's regularly coming out. We have a monthly newsletter that highlights a lot of really fun stuff that's always going on downtown. I think part of our work is to, get the broader community to understand that there actually are things happening downtown all the time. Every night there's something to do downtown. There's something fun happening. So we really want to keep drawing that out and showing people that downtown is a place where there's always something happening. And then in our next episode, our third strategy that I mentioned earlier, where we were talking about tourism and how it relates to the downtown and the broader community, I think we really want to start. We want to open up with a conversation around that. So Taos Mainstreet is engaged in a destination stewardship initiative. Folks probably remember the planning process, happening for several years, and there's a lot of really cool work that's already being done, and we really want to highlight some of that. So I think next show we want to bring in Jesse Hook, who has been tasked with managing and coordinating this destination stewardship effort. We'd like to bring her in and really do a deep dive on destination stewardship, what that means, what that looks like, and how it all connects to the downtown and the broader community.
That sounds great. And it's topics that need to be addressed. We're happy here at KNCE to kind of make the platform available for Main Street to help get the word out, because it's important to reach the greater community and not just the downtown area. This is obviously going to benefit all of northern New Mexico, really, not even considering the tourism and the people who come through, who possibly expecting a vibrant downtown and some opportunities to do some stuff down there. So, Charles, Arcenio, thank you so much for taking some time this morning. I know I personally was a little scattered at times on kind of formulating what this radio program would look like, but I think we did a pretty good job of getting the word out that we're going to be putting some energy into the work that Taos Mainstreet's doing and helping spread the word. So thank you again, Arcenio. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, Howie.
And Charles, we'll be in touch. We'll get the word out in the coming weeks about when the next radio program will be, the time and date, and get into the details of the guests and the topics. And I look forward to this happening every month here for the foreseeable future.
All right. Thanks, Howie, and we look forward to being back next time.
All right. Have a great day.